Hey everybody, it's Dr. Levi. Welcome to your show, the Dr. Levi Show. Today is September 20th, 2017. Beautiful as per usual here in Los Angeles. A little bit more cold today, but not that bad. So I want to say we have a lot going on this year with respect to disasters all over the world, really, and specifically here in the western part of the U.S. and our neighbors in Mexico. I feel so badly, and we just send out all of our good thoughts and energy and prayers to the people in Mexico right now, as well as those in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, who are again under attack. I mean, Mother Nature is again giving us a severe beating. Mexico, imagine yesterday, the September 19th, they had an earthquake of 7.1 magnitude. They had the same thing happen in 1985, again 7.1 magnitude with aftershocks as high as 7.5. Unbelievable. All of us, we've seen the news with literally buildings being pancaked together, just incredible devastation. Specifically with one of the schools that came down where there were young children, elementary school and younger, that were trapped and even killed. So it's really been an extraordinary time late with respect to natural disasters and natural phenomena. So to the people in Mexico, whom I'm a big fan of Mexico, of course. I love the country. Of course, I love the language. I want to say that to our Spanish-speaking community that and everyone else, English also, that we really have to send our prayers, thoughts, and condolences to those in Mexico and to that country. And of course, a big thumbs up to the first responders there in the country that are really helping to do the best that they can. In Puerto Rico, they're literally in the eye of Hurricane Maria. Can you imagine within 14 days to be hit by two specific hurricanes? It's unbelievable. First Irma, now Maria, and possibly Jose, is rearing its head to come forth and may do some harm. We've got so many things happening right now. So I think it's really a time for us to really be present and to be active and ask yourself, what are you doing to make things different? Or are you simply being a bystander to watch it on television, to hear about it, to read about it on blogs? Are you taking time to go through your closets and take out clothes and items that you don't use, to bring them to the Red Cross, bring them to the Goodwill, bring them to other organizations that can be of service to people? And this also reminds us, of course, excuse me, that we should all really have an active disaster preparedness program, meaning that either in your car and in your home, you have the following. Do you have water? Do you have things that you can eat, food that is non-perishable, at least for a while? Do you have blankets? Do you have change of clothes? Do you have sneakers, a change of sneakers? Do you have toiletries? Do you have toilet paper? Do you have batteries? Do you have backup chargers for your cell phone that are already charged up and ready to go? There's so many things that we really have to be aware of. Do you have matches? Do you have a large knife or an axe in case you need to use that, to get out of something? Do you have bug repellent? I mean, there's so many things. Do you have sunscreen, sunblock? Do you have a cap and a hat? So we really have to think of this time now as, I think of it always as this, as my father would say, forewarned is forearmed. So if you're aware of it, you can do the things right now to make a difference in your life so that if something does happen, you're not behind the eight ball, but not behind the curb thinking, okay, I wish I would have, could have, should have. Well, guess what? It's too late now. So it reminds all of us to really be ready. Here, really fortunate in Los Angeles, I'm sure where you are also, we have like a place, I live out in the Valley, and in the Valley there's a store that's a disaster preparedness store that's really fantastic. They have everything depending on how much you want to spend for your kit, from $50 up to $400, depending on how big you want it and all the things that you want, from having the other thing I didn't mention that you should have also are things for first aid, like alcohol, betadine, hydrogen peroxide, bandages, Band-Aids, a tourniquet. These are other things that you should have in your earthquake or any other disaster preparedness type kit. All right. So, now the thing I really want to talk about too is that in the face of multiple disasters like this, we really get inundated with it on TV, on radio, via blogs, via vlogs. I mean, everybody's talking about these things. Twitter, Facebook, all about disaster, disaster, disaster. Well, when we're bombarded with things like this really works on your psyche. And it can cause you to have depression, even if you're not aware of it. A feeling of depression or malaise or melancholy or a feeling of impending doom or just don't feel good about things. So I want this show to really be about giving you hope and to remind you that no matter what's going on around you, either to you or in your environment or to your family, if they're close by, if they're far away, I want you to really go to that place of gratitude about, number one, you have your health, your life, your body, you have a job, and that now it's about service. What can you do to help other people versus helping them by feeling pity? Pity doesn't do anyone any good. Pity is this self contaminating trash. That's what it is. Pity does nothing. It's really about action. It's really about making a difference. Then really just asking yourself, what am I doing? Am I simply just being a bystander, or am I being proactive? So I want to challenge everyone today to be proactive, to take a stand, to make a difference, and to do what you can to help people that are suffering. Think about it. Within the past 3 weeks, there was Harvey in Texas, which was devastating. There was then Irma, for Florida, and now Maria. So I just want to remind everyone to be active, do something. In my office right now, we're taking donations, and I'm going to eventually drop off another big load of things to the Red Cross. We have to do things. We have to always ask yourself, are you part of the problem or part of the solution? You have to honestly ask yourself that. Are you a consumer, or are you actually doing things to give and to help other people? All right? So I really wanted to touch upon that today, so I hope that brings some light to the situation here. I hope it does. Well, today is our regular Q&A. We take medical questions from around the world, from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the UK, Canada, throughout the U.S., the continental U.S., as well as Hawaii and abroad. So today we'll answer some of your questions. Some of the questions are about medicine. Some are about gaming, of course. As the gamers and eSports doctor, I love talking about gaming. I love being a part of that community. I'm grateful to be very embraced by them. So we'll get started here momentarily. Now, before I talk about some of the questions here specifically, I want to go over some basic questions I've gotten also about exercise, fitness, and health. And also to let everyone know that I'll have some other videos coming later this year that will be specifically for artists. And the artists I'm referring to are musicians. The pianist, the guitarist, the keyboardist, the flautist, the clarinet player. I mean, I want to do specific videos to help people who have issues with their hands after playing instruments. And I've talked about it before, but this year we're actually going to do it. And I think this type of video will really be the following. 1, educational and instructional. 2, to actually be preventive. It's always about preventing a problem. And 3, of course, to give you a base of understanding of how to use, I should say, a specific instrument, and then how to not use it. With respect to, are you using it in a way that's ergonomically balanced, or is your posture correct? Does it need to be changed? And even this, the major issue about musicians, I want to remind you, is that, sort of like the gamers, when I tell gamers, take a 5-minute break every hour of gaming, I want to say to all musicians, the same applies to you. After every hour of playing an instrument, you should take 5 to 10 minutes to stretch out your fingers, stretch out your hands, to stretch out your elbows, to realign yourself, look at your posture, make sure that you're staying properly aligned. These things are very, very important. And why? They're important because, you need your body for your entire life. It's not just while you're gaming for this short period of time, or while you're playing an instrument for this part of your life. But what about when you're in your 30s, your 40s, or your 50s, your 60s, or even later in life? You need your body, you need your hands. And if they're not working properly, then that's an issue. And my job as the gamer's doctor, the eSports doctor, and more importantly, as an orthopedic surgeon, as a physician, my job is to keep you healthy, keep you fit, and to prevent injuries. We take the oath to do no harm, so that's my job. Your job, of course, is to do the exercises, to do the stretching, to eat well, to eat properly, and to make sure that you're exercising. And look at your body. I want you to really think about this. Look at your body every day and ask yourself, am I eating more than I'm exercising? Ask yourself that question. Then ask yourself, well, do I like the way my body is right now? And then if you're thinking, no, I'd like to make some changes, then love your body, but you don't have to like the way it looks, and then make these changes every day to get more fit, to get more healthy. But don't feel bad about how your body looks. Don't never feel bad about it, and never let anyone make you feel bad about how your body looks, because it's your body. So what they think about it, that's their business. Now, what you think about it, that's more important, because that's your business, all right? So the key with the body and to fitness is to really come from a place of inner strength, knowing that your body is the one that you have, and your job is to keep it as healthy as possible, to minimize any type of alcohol, to be mindful of not smoking. Again, I want to reiterate, when I talked about smoking, cigarettes, hookah, vaping, electric cigarettes, all of those, I'm saying don't. All right? Okay, the other thing I wanted to address today is CrossFit. I love CrossFit, and I love CrossFit because, number one, it gives your body a chance to really rev up its metabolism. 2, it gives your body a chance to get stronger and to increase your overall strength. 3, it increases your cardiovascular endurance, depending on how much cardio you do during the class. And then 4, it really builds community. What I love about the gym where I go to several gyms. I love the fact that I walk in and I feel this immediate sense of inclusivity. I feel like I'm a part of a group that for the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to I have to use this word, but it's a tough word, but I have to use it, and I apologize. But for the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to suffer together. And that's what it's like, because the classes are so intense. They're so extraordinary that, when I'm there, I know I'm in pain sometimes. And it's not horrible pain, but it's actually severe discomfort. And that's okay, because the benefit will be supreme and superior to what I'm going through. Because, at 35 plus, I have to make this body healthy. I have to have sustained health, because as we mature in life, it's important that you stay as fit as you can to stave off cardiovascular disease, hypertension, high cholesterol, stroke, heart attack. All of these things are knocking at the door. So you want to keep that door closed. And how do you do that? By staying fit, staying healthy, and being mindful of your diet, being mindful of what you eat, smoke, and drink. That's what I want to share with you. So let me take a breath. And now let's begin with some of your questions today. We have a lot to talk about. I'm so grateful for your questions, because your questions remind me that what we're doing today on this show, your show, the Dr. Levi show, is really being a vehicle for change and for inspiration and for education. I'm really all about education. I love the fact that after, all my years of school, I can actually share the wealth of information that I have about fitness, health, and well-being, and about the body, and about anatomy, and about bone structure, and about bone health, and about health of your cardiovascular system, your pulmonary system, your gastrointestinal system. So much to talk about. So let's get started with your question. So again, thanks for joining me. I'm Dr. Levi, and I want to remind you I'm really appreciative of your following on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Thanks for following. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being a part of my Twitch TV stream. We're really, really grateful to have, all of you. Our Twitch TV subscribership is in the thousands now, which is just unbelievable to me. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Very, very grateful. So let's begin with the questions. So this is from Facebook, and the question is, Dr. Levi, can you give me some info regarding spondylosis deformans? Okay, so let's talk about that. Spondylosis deformans is also called osteoarthritis of the spinal column or degenerative disease of the spinal column. Now, I want to tell you the interesting thing about spondylosis deformans. Let me spell this for you in case you want to look it up. It's SPONDYLOSIS. Spondylosis deformans is DEFORMANS. Spondylosis deformans. So it's not only humans have this, but it's also other animals can have it. For example, dogs can develop this arthritis of their spine. So what happens is there's often degeneration of the discs. The discs of the spine are composed of two specific materials I'll talk about. One is the nucleus pulposus, which is the center of the disc, and then the outer portion of the disc is called the annulus fibrosus. So sometimes there can be degeneration of this disc that may cause the bones of the spinal column to start literally rubbing on top of one another. And this can cause the formation of osteophytes. So there's something called osteophytosis. Osteophytosis, now I was going to spell that for you, but I guess it'll be just a long thing to spell. But osteophytosis simply means that there are osteophytes that are formed in the spine. Now the question is, what are osteophytes? Osteophytes are literally like bone chips that occur in the spine. These are like bony protuberances from the spinal column that may actually rub against each other. So, and they may also cause some impingement on the nerves as the nerves leave the spinal column through the foramen. So, spondylosis deformans, why do people get it? We don't know. There's the research, of course, always ongoing in medicine, but why someone develops it, we don't know. We believe it may be because of the degeneration of the annulus fibrosus, but it's not clear. We don't know specifically why. Now, with that said, the interesting thing is that what I found with my patients who have spondylosis deformans, many of them will have some relief with acupuncture or with physical therapy. Some will actually have chiropractic care. What I love about medicine, the great thing about medicine is that, you have this just cornucopia of different things that you can throw out an issue if someone has it. So again, for spondylosis deformans, the things that I recommend are the following. One, I recommend acupuncture, physical therapy, anti-inflammatory medication. Be aware of your posture, making sure that you have really great postural alignment. And the other thing that I think that can help with spondylosis deformans, of course, is talking to your doctor, he or she, sooner than later. I want to remind everyone, as I talk about and answer your questions, I'm your virtual doctor here. It's important that you are seen by your physician in your area. I have to give you that disclaimer because I'm not able to examine you appropriately or thoroughly. I hear your questions. Grateful for them, but you still should be seen by your local doctor so that he or she can help you, of course. All right. Now, so spondylosis deformans, that's the deal. It's literally arthritis and degeneration of the spinal canal. The other things I want to say about that is many people will have this for a long period of time before it actually starts to bother them. And then when it does bother them, often it's sort of like the cat is out the bag. It really continues to give them a lot of difficulty. So, And sometimes someone can present with spondylosis with neurologic issues. They may have difficulty walking, may have burning sensation, pain, may have numbness or tingling in their feet or in their hands, may have a loss of dexterity in their fingers or hands. Sometimes they may have what we call this myelopathic phenomena associated with also, which is from some type of impingement on the spinal canal. If you have impingement on your spinal cord, you can cause something called myopathy, and this can often manifest depending on the level of the impingement in difficulty walking, change in dexterity of the hands, change in handwriting. There's so many issues that can occur from myelopathic and myelopathic issues. Again, this is impingement on the spinal canal from deformity and from osteophytes and osteophytosis. So I hope that helps you with this question. All right, the next question is, Dr. Levi, I found you via YouTube. I would like to know how to stop getting pain in my wrist. First time was the right wrist, and now it's on the left wrist. As I'm in a manual wheelchair, it took months for my right wrist to heal up and months of wearing a wrist brace. Now I've got the same problem on my left wrist. That's the strong hand. And as the right hand has never fully recovered, and would like to know if there is any way to cut the time in half so my left wrist can heal quicker. Hope to hear a reply back soon. Well, I want to really thank you for your question. So having a manual wheelchair is a lot of constant trauma to both of your wrists, because you're pushing the chair. So I'm going to make the following recommendations for you. And I don't know if you can do this, but I'm gonna recommend this. Number one, it would be great to see if you can have your wheelchair adjusted and realigned first. All right, that may give you some relief. Secondly, it would be great if you had access to an electric wheelchair for a while to let your wrist really rest for about a month. If you could actually rent an electric wheelchair for a month whereby you can only have to use your fingers or use your wrist very slightly, that would help. Number two, I recommend physical therapy, strengthening exercises for your wrists, your hands, and your forearms. Now, with that, you can actually also get added help, bonus help from some of my videos. I have the videos on YouTube specifically for wrist, elbow, arm, hand strengthening exercises. They're for gamers. However, they can use by anybody who has hands. If you have hands, these exercises will help you. They will help you if you're a rock climber, if you're a boxer, if you're a mixed martial artist, if you're a CrossFit athlete. These exercises are designed to help anyone. If you have wrists and hands, you use them a lot. If you do a lot of typing or texting, which most of us do, a lot of keyboarding, mousing, a lot of CAD work, all of those exercises are specifically designed for individuals that have high impact use of their hands. And for yourself, in a wheelchair, a wheelchair takes so much energy because you have to propel and push yourself, and it's a manual wheelchair, so this is it. These are your motors, so right here, your hands, your wrist. So with that said, I think if you have access to a chair, an electric chair, for at least a month to 6 weeks, that'll help you. Secondly, I recommend physical therapy. Third, of course, which I love, so I have to put in the mix also because I think it helps so many people and it's such an underused modality, would be acupuncture. Acupuncture is great. And the great thing about acupuncture, there really is no extreme pain associated with it. It's effective. It also gives a sense of calm, actually, when I get acupuncture. I had some extensive cupping done this weekend, and I have to tell you, with acupuncture and cupping, it just makes me feel like I'm a brand new guy. It really does. So I really highly recommend that. Now, I want to say one other thing about the wheelchair. You also may want to get some gloves, because gloves may also help with respect to how much traction you have on the wheels when you're pushing them, okay? So, again, make sure your wheelchair is properly aligned. Secondly, use gloves. And third, have access to an electric wheelchair for a while. And fourth, of course, physical therapy and acupuncture. 5, wear your braces, especially at night, to give your wrist a chance to rest. Because what happens is this. All of us almost, when we sleep, we put our hands like this. our wrists are like bent like in this fetal position. So all that time, imagine if you sleep, let's say 4 hours a night, or I would say, let's say 8 to 5 hours per night if you're sleeping that much. Imagine that your wrist might be in this position for maybe an hour or two while you're sleeping, if not more. So the wrist brace, again, what you want to get is called a volar, VOLAR wrist brace, okay? That does not include the thumb. I'm not talking about a thumb spiker brace. A volar wrist brace that's been placed in the neutral position. All right, and that iron bar that's in the splint should really help to keep your hand in the functional position, neutral position while you're sleeping. Okay, so I hope that helps you. Now, the other thing I was just curious about, was you're in a wheelchair, but why are you in the wheelchair? Do you have a neurologic issue, for example, like cerebral palsy or ALS? I mean, I'd like to know why you're in the wheelchair. So let me know that if you'd like to share, and if not, that's fine also. But I always like to have the full picture of someone that I'm giving some advice to. But again, the overall caveat here is always check with your own personal physicians or healthcare providers in your neighborhood and for your family so that they can actually examine you and give you other advice. All right? Now, next question. This again is any tips on healthy mechanics training? Tried and true method is excessive repetition that can make my hand uncomfortable. Unlike a macro sport, building mechanics don't seem to build muscles, but instead feed into fatigue and discomfort. Okay, so let's talk about that. I recommend the following, for functional mechanism training. Okay, number one is make sure that you're doing proper stretching while you're training. In the stretches, I have them I have like 110, maybe 120 plus videos on YouTube that are fitness, health related, and strengthening and stretching exercises. So first, I recommend that you do those to see if that will help you. The second thing I recommend is, of course, taking a rest from training, letting your body heal. Even if you only take maybe 2 or 3 days off if you're having significant pain. And 4, with respect to building, it's important that you have a schedule and a goal. When it comes to fitness, health, and well-being, you really want to have a goal. For example, weigh yourself today, look at yourself today, look at your body today, and I'm saying look at all of you, completely naked. Look at all of you and appreciate all of your body. And then think to yourself, okay, is this the body that I want? And if you say no, well, that's fine. Love that body, then make the changes to get healthier, to lose the weight that you want to lose so that you can not have high blood pressure or diabetes or high cholesterol or be at high risk for a stroke or a heart attack or kidney disease or cancer. I mean, all these other things are knocking at your door if you don't exercise properly, all right? So with respect to, bodybuilding and mechanics of the body, again, posture is important, alignment is important, exercise every day, do the strengthening and stretching exercise, of course, and the other thing that's important is just to be aware of your body. How do you feel? For example, I ran this morning. I operated late last night, but when I got in, I still went for a 5-mile run this morning because I have a big competition coming up in literally 10 days from today, actually 9 days from today. So, even though I was slightly tired, my mind was like, nope, Levi, you got to get fit. You got to stay focused. So I went for the run. Now, 5 miles is not a lot, but at least it's something to remind my body, hey, and, 9 more days, you'll be running 15.9 miles. So, I share that with you because never give yourself an excuse for not working out. Never give yourself an excuse for not being more fit. Never give yourself an excuse for having that extra drink, that extra piece of pie or cake or dessert. As my father would say, never let your eyes rule your stomach. He'd always say, okay, Levi, you want that because it looks beautiful, it looks great. However, it's not good for you, son. And I'm so grateful now that I look back that he was so into fitness, health, and that I was able to hopefully, continue on that legacy of being fit and being healthy. Because he was like that for part of his life. The other part, not so much. Okay, so I hope that helps you. The next question is, Dr. Levi, I've been suffering with a ganglion cyst on my left wrist for months. I've tried a number of natural remedies with only a little relief, but it flares right back up again. I had one before that I got rid of using lymphotonic supplement. That one was on the top of my wrist. This one is on the side and seems entangled in tendon. So much more painful, and it doesn't get rest due to thumb movement. Percussion helps some, but again, only shortly. So, just wondering what you have done with these cases. Thank you, Sonia, Sonja. I've always loved that name, Sonia. That's a beautiful name. So, let's talk about ganglion cysts. So, we don't know why. Again, the interesting story in medicine, the narrative is often we don't know why. We can actually do things about things, but why people get them, we don't know. So let's talk about ganglion cysts. So this is often an outpocketing from, more commonly, from the scapholunate ligament, and it can be on the dorsum of the hand, which is the back of the hand or wrist, or on the volar surface of the wrist. Now, how are they treated? Often, they can be treated with an injection, and we can inject the cyst with some medicine, specifically a steroid. The steroid will often be Kenalog or Depomedrol. There are many different steroids that we use, or even cortisone. So it'll be injected sometime like that to see if that will cause it to involute, which means just to go into itself and to sort of disappear. Now, some doctors will still treat this with, they will actually puncture the cyst and draw out the fluid. The fluid is made of hyaluronic acid, which is really just some joint fluid that's inside this. And then the other way we treat it, of course, is with surgery to take it out. I think often for them, if they don't respond to the injection, I like to simply take them out. Now, before I get to that, one thing that I always do in my practice is, even if someone has a mass that appears to be a ganglion cyst, again, listen to these key words, appears to be a ganglion cyst, I always get an MRI to confirm, because there's another tumor called a giant cell tumor of the tendon sheath that can also look and even feel like a ganglion cyst, but it's not. It's a fake out. It's not that. So, and you specifically said that it's right along the tendons. So what I recommend is, before someone injects that with any type of steroid or anything like that, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you get an MRI of your wrist, because the MRI is a great way of looking inside your wrist to see, what is it really? Is it a ganglion cyst? Where does it originate? Where is the stalk? How big is it? Is it homogeneous? Does it look strange? It has any other odd characteristics? So is it septated? So all of these things are very, very important. So ganglion cysts, I never take them lightly. If someone says, oh, they'll come in often. I just had someone the day before yesterday, actually on Friday, who came in who said, I want this off. And she showed me her wrist, and it was a large mass. And she said, well, I just know it's a ganglion. I said, well, how do you know it's a ganglion? She said, I'm just sure it is. So, sometimes it may look like that, but it's not. So, I'm always really, I'm a really, really conservative surgeon, but I operate when necessary. I love operating. I believe, and I thank God I'm a very competent surgeon, because I do it so often. I'm grateful for that. But I always say this: operating is always the last modality, because surgery, like taking a medicine, can always do one of three things: make you better, make you worse, or no change. Always one of those three. So I always recommend, if you can, avoid medicine. If you can, avoid surgery. If you can, exercise more and be aware of your diet, drink more, be more active, have less stress, be around less stressful people, create less stressful times in your life. Just do all the things that construct your life to be happy, to be full of gratitude, and to simply be in a place of relaxation versus stressed out about stuff. All right. So the ganglion cyst is an odd thing that people get. Now, I want to share this with you. The other place I actually see ganglion cysts even more often, in my practice anyway, I can't speak for every orthopedist on the earth or even the U.S. I can speak for myself. What I often see ganglions after trauma to the wrist sometime. I've seen this maybe 20 plus times in people that have had wrist fractures, and after their wrist fracture has healed and they're doing fine, they'll develop a ganglion cyst either on the dorsum or the volar surface of their wrist. I've seen that at least 20 times, maybe more by now, because I've been in private practice now for a total of 10 years actually, which is pretty mind-blowing, at least to me. So I hope that helps you with the ganglion cyst. So if it continues to bother you, again, talk to your doctor about injecting it. I do not recommend, puncturing the cyst with a needle and sucking out the hyaluronic acid. I don't recommend that. The first thing I recommend is talk to your doctor about what you think you have. 2, I highly recommend getting an MRI if you're able to get that. If you're claustrophobic, that might be somewhat difficult, but we can always give you medication to relax you. 3rd, of course, is to try physical therapy, because sometimes with a little bit of therapy, they will actually go away, with some compression. Now, they used to call the ganglion cyst a Bible thumper, because what would happen is someone would put their hand down on the table and someone would come into the room with the biggest book in the house, and often that would be the Bible, and then they would slam the Bible on someone's wrist to break the cyst. And often the cyst would explode, but at the expense of having them have multiple fractures of their hands or their wrist. So I don't recommend that, of course. So that's the ganglion cyst deal. I hope that helps you, Sonia. Next question. Dr. Levi, I love every video you do and look up to you for many things in my life. But I wanted to know if you had any exercise you recommend a healthy 17-year-old who wants to have his grip strength stronger in fingers and forearm and just overall hand for lifting and Olympic weightlifting and calisthenics and some sort of martial arts and soccer. Wow, you're doing a lot. That's fantastic. It's great to be active like that. So I love it. Love it. Fantastic. And again, this is from Facebook. So the exercises I recommend are the following. If you really want to increase your grip strength, here are 4 exercises that you can do. Number 1, if you have access to a rope, you wrap your forearm around the rope, hold it with one hand, and then just hold your body weight up and just hold on as long as you can. Initially, you might be able to hold for only 5 or 10 seconds. Your goal would be to hold the rope for about a minute. Right now, I actually just did this exercise about 2 weeks ago. I was able to hold the rope for about a minute and 22 seconds. So on my right side, and on the left side, I was able to hold for, I think it was a minute and 5 seconds. So that will help your grip strength a lot. So if you can do that at least 3 or 4 times a week. So just holding on to the rope, then just support your body weight, but with one hand. That should help you a lot. The second thing, of course, would be if you have access to a shelf or to a climbing gym. Climbing gyms are really awesome. Or even a parkour gym. Where there you can actually just practice on holding the side of the wall, with holding with all of your fingers in this position. It's called a tabletop position, holding like that, then trying to use less and less of the tabletop until you're just hanging from literally your fingertips. The other thing that you can do for improving grip strength are pull-ups, and chin-ups will help a lot. Chin-ups are very, very difficult. The pull-ups are not, because with the pull-ups, your hands are in a supinated position, and you're just pulling your body up. Now, that's a chin-up. Now, with the pull-up, the pull-up, your palms are facing you. That's the pull-up. The chin-up, your hands are pronated. You're looking at the back of your hands, and then you're holding on to the bar and pulling up. Those will also help grip strength tremendously. Now, the thing I want to add to that, though, to make it even more intense is that when you're doing the pull-up or the chin-up, try to use less and less of your fingers wrapped around the bar. Don't hold the bar so tightly. Just try to use less and less and less until almost your palms are facing the wall as you're doing the chin up, or as you're doing the pull up. You really want to have just barely your fingers wrapped around the bar. That'll help you tremendously. Now, the other thing when it comes to grip strength that I think helps overall, this will help overall conditioning, is the plank. The great thing about the plank, it helps with core strength. So it's not simply about having just your fingers are strong. Well, that's the easier thing to manifest. If you do those exercises, that'll help you tremendously. The thing that you really want to talk about is, well, how can you increase the strength of your overall body? How can you increase the strength of your overall health in general? Well, I love the plank. The plank is a great movement. Now, I want to give you a heads up about the plank. There are multiple types of plank, and I have a video on different types of planks. I did that video with, I believe, I don't know if I did that video with him. I think I did. Well, I did a video. I've done several videos on the plank. I was trying to think of a buddy of mine. Did I do the video with him? And I thought I did with Michael. I thought I did. Michael and I did this video together. So check that out if you can. Go through and look at the video on the plank. So the great thing, again, I want to really about plank. It's for overall conditioning and for increasing your core strength. Now what you want to do with the plank is you want to really challenge yourself. So first, do the plank and try to hold for at least 30 seconds. Your goal is to hold the plank for, you ready? For 5 minutes. That's your goal. Now, when you hold in the plank, you can do it from either way. So I recommend that you hold it either with your arms locked out and straight, or you can do it on your forearms, from your elbows. Either way, I recommend, if you can, to hold the plank for 5 minutes. My record so far holding the plank is 5 minutes and 55 seconds. And it's always easy for me to remember that because it's the 5-5-5. So that's what I recommend. That'll help you with your grip strength because your core will be tight and really, really strong, and your abs will be ripped, shredded, absolutely shredded. So I really recommend that. Now, the other thing about grip strength that's great, of course, is that as you're doing those exercises to get stronger, that I recommend, you also have to do the exercises, specifically the stretching exercises. And the stretches for that, again, look at the forearm and hand, wrist stretching exercises for gamers. Because if you do those, that will help you. The key with exercise is one word. Well, two. And they're pretty much the same. And one is balance, and the other is moderation. So yes, you want to do the strengthening, but you also want to do the stretching. So often I see people, even at several of the gyms where I go, that will work out, and people work out really, really hard. And after they work out, they'll just walk away, leave the gym without stretching, without cooling down. So you really want to, invigorate your life and your body with exercise. But it's so important that you do it safely, that you do it properly. So that one, you don't have any injuries, and two, that you're able to sustain your fitness. Because what happens with this is someone may want to get really, really fit, and then they start achieving their goals, and then they stop stretching, and then they're injured. And now they're behind the 8 ball. Now you're out of commission for 2 or 3 weeks because you're healing from a strain or a pull or some type of injury. So it's so important that you use stretching as a part of your exercise regimen. It really has to be a part. And when I say that, it has to be a part of your daily program, not when you feel like it. It has to be daily. All right. So the other thing about stretching is that it really gives you a chance to sort of come back down from where you were. Exercise like revs up everything. I mean, everything is like on fire. So it's like the balance of fire and water. And I look at at the cool down is that you're putting water on the fire. You're coming back down into yourself. You're really like just relaxing your body and getting on with the rest of your day. Now, the other thing I want to talk about that I've been asked many times is it better to exercise in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night? Whatever works for you works for me. So if it's easy for you to go in the morning to exercise, awesome, fantastic. If it's better for you to go after work, awesome, fantastic. If it's better for you to go during lunchtime, awesome, fantastic, amazing, great. This is it. It's so imperative that you not give yourself an excuse to not exercise. And people do this. They'll say the following. And I hear this all the time in my office is, well, Dr. Levi, the gym is too far from my home. Well, why did you join it? Join one that's closer to your home. The second big one I hear is, Dr. Levi, after work, I'm just too tired. I have to go home and deal with the wife or the husband or the kids and the spouse and the dog and the birds and the cats. Okay, well, go during your lunch period. Or what about this? Bring the whole family with you for a walk before you have dinner, which is a great time to bond. It creates community within the family. It gives you a chance to hear what your children are doing at school, to know who their friends are. That's so important that you're aware of your children's friends, because they're the true influencers also, because you may be there part of the time, but those roommates or those classmates, they're with your children for 6 to 8 hours a day. So they have tremendous influence. You want to make sure that your children are not being bullied. You want to hear the whole story. Do they feel safe at school? Are they happy? Do they have concerns? Do they like their teachers? It's important to have a dialogue with the children, and to let them know that, one, we want to hear them, that they have value, because they do, and that what they're saying has value. But you're only going to know this if you speak to them. So what about that? Walking with your kids and your husband or your wife or your spouse or your partner, that's very important. Now, the other thing, too, that I hear often is, so the big two, of course, is the gym is too far away. The third, of course, is I don't have time. The second is I don't have time. And the third is, Doctor, now hear this. This is so common. Dr. Levi, I don't like to exercise because if I exercise, I feel pain. Well, I get it. If you haven't been exercising for a while, you're gonna hurt a little bit. You're gonna be kind of achy. You do those squats, you're gonna have difficulty sitting. You're gonna have difficulty walking. Things are gonna be achy for a little bit. But guess what? This too shall pass. Simply do it with commitment. Do it every day. Be focused about doing it, and just have faith that in time things will get better for you. But I believe in you. I want you to win. Do you want to win? Do you want to do the work? The key with exercise, I tell you, I have patients who are millionaires, and I have a few who are multi-billionaires, actually. All the money that they have, they still have to do the work. No matter how much money you may have, how much social connection or influence you may have, when it comes to your body, you have to exercise it. You can't just lay down and someone's going to push you up to do a sit-up, then they lay you back down. And they push you up to do a sit-up, and they lay you back down. Someone's holding you on both arms, they squat you, and they lift you up like a puppet. And guess what? It just doesn't work like that. When it comes to exercise, you have to do the work. You do the work, as my father would say, you do the work, you have the benefit. You don't do the work, why expect a benefit? Which is true. It sounds really complicated, but it's not. It's very simple. It's very formulaic. If you do the work, you have the benefits of it. So a body that exercises looks like it exercises. A body that doesn't exercise looks like it doesn't exercise. It's not like a thing of, oh, there's a surprise going on here. There's no surprise. Just do the work. We do the work, we have the benefit. And the benefit is long sustaining. So with that said, I want to thank you for your questions today. It was a really interesting show for me. I really wanted to talk about disaster, though, and more importantly about active disaster preparedness programs, that you have a POA, a plan of action. So if something happens from a fire to an earthquake, that you have prepared things that you have in your car, and that you also have things that are prepared at your home. And I want to thank you again for subscribing. Please subscribe, follow, and like me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, IG, all our social media platforms. And I really want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of your community. I'm really, really grateful. I'm working on some major projects, have a lot of big changes coming in my life over the next 3 months. Many of those I'll share with you. I think it'll be fantastic. So I want to tell you, get ready, because the doctor's in the house and a lot of things will be changing. So I hope you're ready to make those changes with me. And remember, every day is a gift. And ask yourself, what are you doing to make the planet, to make your community better? I challenge you to make things better. Just one person can make a big difference. All right, so have a great day. This is Dr. Levi. I want to thank Janet Rodriguez and Tony Sweet for being with me today, and I'm really grateful to have you as a part of my community. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Bye.